Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Radio 2. Today is lesson 60 of the 84 lessons that we're going to be having together. But because a lot of the work lies in lesson 59, I thought that is exactly where we need to start before we get into lesson 60. So let's get on with it. So, what is a radio promotion? A promotion is anything that puts the word out about your station. Promotions get people talking about and listening to your product. Promotions, they're events such as publicity stunts and outside advertising on billboards or TV. Promos are spots or segments you run on your station that support your own programming. Now, radio promotions have two goals. One is to draw in new listeners, and two is to get current listeners to tune in more often and for longer. However, when budgets get tight, the first to be cut is the marketing budget. Now, let's look at concepts of radio station promotion and contesting. Because of financial situations at stations, the current trend in marketing and promotion of broadcast properties is to get results with less. It's about outthinking rather than outspending the competition. Listeners must be aware of your station so they can listen to it, and radio stations need to use contests and integrated campaigns to get the word out about their product. Contesting is about fantasy, and listeners love to play. Creativity and passion are key elements to powerful radio promotions at stations with limited budgets. Your own station's airwaves and website are powerful promotion tools when used effectively. Branding your station, as with branding of a customer product, is keeping your promise. Listeners like to know what to expect and when to tune in. Your station logo must be a visual representation of your station. Permanence is building a habit of listening to you in your audience. Don't underestimate the attraction for many listeners in hearing their name on the radio. Listeners love that. Money isn't always necessary for a successful promotion. Planning, on the other hand, is everything. We've had quite private talks because we are in a safe space when we're in class where we speak about some presenters that just don't plan. So make use of the promotion checklist on page 358 in your Beyond Powerful Radio textbook. Television advertising campaigns are affordable by piggybacking on an advertiser's promotion budget. Use your own station and website to promote what you are doing. Create powerful parody songs for musically inclined listeners to get your point across in a very fun way. Now, getting into the listener's mind, let's turn to page 345 in your Beyond Powerful Radio textbook. Page 345 in your Beyond Powerful Radio textbook. What does it take to earn a place in the mind of a radio listener? People remember what is important to them, that which makes a profound impression. So, let's take a look at sex, achievement, fantasy, outrage, spectacle, humor, rescue, injustice, money, patriotism, scandal, in short, Sappho shrimp. Sex, also romance, love, and relationships. Achievement, songs in a row, award-winning programming. Fantasy, contest prizes, or an experience with elements of fantasy that cannot be bought. Outrage, edgy content, dramatic publicity stunts, and shock talk. Spectacle, uses the theater of the mind. Station roadshows and live broadcasts gives audiences something they've never seen before. Humor, major personalities, morning shows, and comedy bits. Rescue, blood drives, fundraising efforts, human interest stories. Injustice, news of the day, bad judgment calls by sports officials, politicians, etc. Money, contest prizes, lottery results, stories on government spending. Patriotism, love or affection for sports teams, community, country, or home. Scandal, gossip and celebrity news. To decide which of the suffer shrimp tactics your station will use to lure listeners, Harris advises learn as much as you can about your target audience and their needs. There are, of course, lots of research companies you can pay to provide this kind of information, but if you don't have the budget, your station can benefit from simply reviewing the news headlines that other media like broadcast print and the internet are using to grab the attention of the same people you are looking to interest. Keeping your promise. Doug Harris, an expert on branding radio stations, mentioned that branding is often spoken of in hushed tones as if it were a mystical phenomenon. In the world of broadcasting, a brand is a promise. Every time a listener encounters a radio brand, that station's promise must be fulfilled. If a listener is lured in by this safe and fun for the whole family promise, but they tune in to hear a very dirty joke or even something slightly inappropriate, then the promise that you've given to this specific individual is now broken. Doug Harris breaks the process down as follows. This process you can find on page 347 of your Beyond Powerful Radio textbook. Define the target. The programming and marketing team should identify a primary target, describing your intended listener's age, gender, and programming preferences. Harris continues, your programming team may have purchased research to find the hole in your market, that segment of the listening audience, which is not being served by another radio station or another piece of programming. The research may point out the radio stations from which your news station hopes to steal its audience. Your marketing team may visit some of these stations' events to see the audience in person. Other general information from research companies may reveal your intended listeners' tastes in reading materials, entertainment, automobiles, vacations, destinations, and even food. Before you set your marketing strategy, look at all the research available. Know as much about your audience as possible. By knowing your audience, you ensure that you are promoting something that will be of genuine interest. Address a real need, giving listeners a real solution to a real problem. Offering a 3-week vacation for two to another country may not be as usual to your target listener. A 33-year-old mother of 2 young children as a weekend at Disney World. Promote the right things at the right time to the right people. It may help you to follow the practice of many radio stations of creating a profile of a fictitious person with a name and a life story in order to imagine your target listener. Some programmers have even been known to place a photo of a stylized fictitious family of this type in their broadcast studios to keep the on-air host focused on the target. Identify the emotional needs of your targets. People remember the things they connect with emotionally. A message like 10 songs in a row or more music in the morning would seem to be a great selling tool because it is fact-based. It's true that claims like the rock station or hot talk tell the listener what to expect and can help differentiate a station from its competitors if the audience cares about the claim. But emotionally, slogans like "We're with you" and "The sound of the city" often connect with the listener's lifestyle or feeling. Some programmers have found that this emotional imagery is more important than making an empirical claim about music or talk. Give me a sign. To get the most use of your station's logo as a marketing and promotion tool, Doug Harris makes these suggestions. Your logo is part of the building of an emotional connection with your listener. Make sure that the artwork and the image it represents engages rather than offends or confuses your audience. Product, performance, and promotion. Your product is what you do. Ideally, you have built a fine station with creative elements, good shows, interesting news and information, plus top personalities. Permanence involves keeping those shows consistent by running them at regular times so the audience can develop the habit of listening. Now comes promotion, letting the audience know where you are and what you're doing. You can promote any element of your radio station as long as it's good, interesting radio. Don't knock yourself out barking people into the tent if the circus isn't great. So product, performance, and promotion. Promote the station's image as well as its product. Build passion emotion, and listener loyalty. Involve your listeners. Ensure that people who are not participating will still enjoy hearing the contest. Promotion news. Your own airwaves can be one of the best vehicles available for marketing the news and information you offer. Take a small excerpt from a reporter's magic moment on air or a piece of a great interview on a breaking story and create powerful image-enhancing promos. It might sound like this. If you weren't listening to Z97 News yesterday at noon, here's what you missed. For news, as it happens. This performance promo lets the audience know that if they're not listening to you, they're really missing out. This method applies to more than news programming. Record audio of everything. Save magic moments from callers, talk shows, contests, and monologues. They make great promos. Magic moments promos have an extra benefit. Often, listeners who hear the promo genuinely believe they heard the show from which it came. Your entertaining promos can get you credit for listening that didn't actually take place. A scoop for a scoop. Another way to engage your listeners while promoting your news product is to ask the audience to help you. Texting and email makes it easy. Most news and talk TV and radio stations employ some version of the tip line. And viewers or listeners may do more than just alert you to breaking news stories or events. They may be able to provide eyewitness reports or actual videos or audio that you can use. Don't underestimate the attraction for many listeners hearing their name on the radio or getting the credit for a scoop. This works for traffic tips as well. You will hear many radio stations thanking mobile caller Bill for the information on the load of chickens that fell off the truck blocking the 3 left lanes of a major highway. Now you can turn to page 352 so we can look at the pros and cons of contests. Designated caller contests. The on-air personality offers a prize or a chance to play a game to caller X. This is easy to do and easy to understand, but it limits participation to the most active audience members. Most people never call radio stations and believe their chances of winning are very small. Generally, it is not exciting radio unless the winner is extremely animated. However, many programmers believe that teasing the audience with an upcoming contest makes people listen longer. Trivia contests. The on-air personality solicits an answer to a question because the audience gets to play along, even if they're not actually calling in. There's some added entertainment value. This also is a very simple contest to explain and to conduct. Recall contests. This requires a bit more from your listener. They are asked to tune in at a particular time of the day to hear a code word, phrase, or song. They must then listen again later that day for a chance to call in and repeat the information to win a prize. The purpose of this form of contesting is to promote listening to a number of day parts. Email, fax, or snail mail contests. In all of these, a listener gets to choose his or her own time to participate. With a longer time frame, more people can participate. Mail-in responses require more time than fax or email contesting. But all three remove the run to the phone or stay by the radio obstacle. These contests can be trivia or recall based, or can simply ask for a listener's contact information for a random drawing. Here you can also get more complex responses, such as for an essay or photo contest. Email and instant or text message contesting can occur in real time and has produced some really great talk radio. Personality shows can generate content in the form of an audio for an on-air use, photos and videos for the station's website, and stories or information that can be used in a variety of ways. Performance-based contests. Listeners may be asked to perform a stunt or a task over the phone or in person at a specific location. Of course, the more difficult, labor-intensive, or potentially embarrassing the stunt, the smaller the potential universe of players become. In most cases, a substantial prize is required to get people to participate in these contests, but when they work, they can be a lot of fun. If they're theatrical enough, they can get your station covered on TV and in print. Here are some examples of contests that got a lot of TV and print attention. You can take a look at those from page 353 to 354. Can you buy an audience? While a powerful promotion can initially bring large numbers of new listeners into the tent, unless you build a connection with them, no matter how big the prize, no matter how creative the contest, you can only truly buy an audience. Tips for creating powerful radio promotions. This you can get on page 358. Let's go through them. A promotion checklist. The promotions or marketing manager is the PD of the off-air side of your radio station, says consultant Michael Hedges. Michael Hedges tips for creating powerful radio promotions. Ask, does the promotion make sense? Every promotion must make sense within the marketing objectives of the radio station. Less is truly more. Choose your promotions carefully. When presented with 5 major promotional ideas for the month, choose the one that has the greatest likelihood of succeeding. Do that one. They remember, every time the radio station is presented to the public, an impression is made. These impressions are cumulative in the mind of the listener. Listeners are equally likely to remember your faults or your merits. Your very polite listeners will never call to tell how disgusting and dirty the remote van looked, but you can bet one will tell friends that your station looked tacky. When designing a promotion, always ask yourself how it can be made bigger. Radio is showbiz. Show it to them. Don't outsmart yourself. Complicated promotions really succeed because listeners just don't have time to participate. You can build interest in a promotion only to the extent that the listeners see a payoff. The promotion will fail if the length of the rules promo goes over 30 seconds. It's the details. Think 30 times about each step through which the gentle listener must pass to play the game, attend the event, and win the prize. Use their eyes and ears, not yours. The wrong telephone number, URL, or email address on an entry form is totally inexcusable. Remember the payoff. Sales promotions can work if and only if each and every listener participant comes away from the event feeling that the time and energy he or she spent participating was some way compensated. Remember to get paid. Plan for local media coverage. Think of ways to make your promotions interesting to them. Make sure that every local editor knows about your promotion well in advance. Have photos of every contest winner published in the local or community newspaper. The promo is better than the bid. Former Dallas radio personality Ron Chapman's first and only law of promotion. The production must be the best element on your radio station. The writing must be tight, smart, and crisp. If a promotion, event, or contest doesn't sound exciting on your radio station, listeners will never hear it. All promotions are equal. Listeners don't necessarily know the difference between programming promotions and sale promotions, and they don't mind being sold products or services compatible with their expectations of the radio station. Anything sold in an entertaining way is, well, entertaining. Consultant J. Albright advises, create priority and focus with your station promos. Narrow the focus to only the most important promo topics. Devote your entire inventory to these. The more you ask of your listeners, the less impact each request will have. Each week, remember, there will be dozens of priorities that all seem worthy of promo mentions. Unfortunately, the more you promote, the more clutter you create and the fewer things your audience will actually remember and respond to. Think of every promo as a favor you are asking of your audience. Attending an event, listening to your morning show, participating in a contest, or friending you on Facebook. Network TV is a good example of using promos effectively. Each of the major networks is 30 to 50 different programs each week, yet they heavily promote fewer than a dozen. Approaching television. Think how you can break through the thousands of emails we receive. Don't get frustrated if you call a TV network desk and they brisk. Get a feel of what plays on the station you are pitching to. Call once. Pitch things that dovetail with the day's news. Keep TV posted regularly. Know the TV station's deadlines. Start your events on time. Plaster your call listeners everywhere. No pictures. Be TV friendly. If your radio station is co-owned with a TV station, work to strengthen that partnership. Piggybacking on your advertisers' advertising. Doug Harris suggests doing a little homework to find out which advertisers in your market spend the most money on television, print, and outdoor. Find a way to include one of the station personalities or station logos in the client's advertising. The client might like to use one of your station personalities as a spokesperson for his or her product or service instead of an anonymous actor. This is a way to get exposure for your radio station's call letters, logo, or personalities at little or no cost to you. Other resources: a branded website, an online newspaper, or an interactive phone system. These cost-effective examples of other people's media will enhance and amplify your marketing attack, especially if traditional, more expensive avenues of external marketing are closed. Doug Harris's action plan for success. Step 1, each radio department should prepare a list of goals, needs, and wants. Step 2, create an 18-month calendar beginning with the start of the new month. Here's what a planner might put on a calendar: national, regional, or local events and holidays, religious observations, first day of school, university classes begin, days when banks, schools, and public offices might be closed, major sporting events, celebrity birthdays of interest to the target listener, station events or anniversaries, special station programming, as well as ratings periods. Step 3, marketing, programming, and on-air staff should meet to decide which of these calendar dates are most important and how the station will tie into them. Step 4, calculate your budget for each promotion or promotional period. Step 5, defend and explain your budget by writing a story to go with your proposal. Step 6, when asked to reduce the budget, a marketing manager may wish to show the narrative to other department heads. Step 7, review your progress and your spending every month. The most common mistakes in marketing can be avoided by the following 2 simple rules: plan in advance and put everything in writing. Use your own airwaves and website to promote. Create anticipation, create expectations, pick the highlights, and seize the opportunities. Promo points, news talk radio. Teasers and promos are best when short. Cross-promote like you mean it. There is nothing like a word of endorsement from a listener's favorite host to make the listener give another show a chance. Do it yourself. Get your own outside press. You can use your own website to promote events, cultivate people of influence in the online world. Throw out stale bread. It is tempting to use great promos over and over again. Do not give in to that temptation. Stay up for it. If you cut your promos last thing before you leave the situation, there is a danger of sounding tired and unenthusiastic. After all, you have just spent 3 hours on air. You want to go home and you are holding your car keys. Try running into the production room prior to today's show and see what you can come up with to promote tomorrow's show. Get it right. When you work with pre-recorded elements, make them perfect. Remember FUBBI. The key lecture points for today. The Sappho-Shrimps acronym is a theory of consumer interest. Branding your station, as with branding of a customer product, is keeping your promise. Listeners like to know what to expect when they tune in. Your station logo must be a visual representation of your station. Permanence is building a habit of listening to you in your audience. Don't underestimate the attraction of listeners in hearing their name on the radio. Be aware of the pros and cons of contests that you can find from page 352 to 354. Money isn't always necessary for a fabulously successful promo. The author has a list of favorite successful radio promotions. Planning is everything. Use the promotion checklist on page 358. Television advertising campaigns are affordable by piggybacking on an advertiser's promotion budget. Use the other people's money, or OPM, which is the acronym. Use your own station and website to toot your own horn. Creating a powerful parody song is for the musically inclined to get your point across in a very fun way. We are still looking at promotions. Let's turn to lesson 60. All right, we are talking about FUBBI, which I mentioned a little bit earlier on, that you can get in your Next Level Radio textbook from page 214 to 216. Let's get into it. Promotions. What makes engaging radio? Emotivity is the main driver of listener engagement. We hold a listener's attention when they are emotionally connected to a piece of content. This is not an easy task, as different listeners react emotionally to different types of content. One study was conducted by the Emotional Intelligence Agency, an internet and data strategy company. In order for radio stations to obtain the share of emotion, the EIA study determined that the following four kinds of emotionally compelling content are what they should focus on. It should be fun or funny. It should be useful. It should be beautiful. There's one missing. It should be bold, and it should be inspiring. If it doesn't meet these requirements, then your content isn't necessarily so great. The following figures breaks down these four types of content into smaller subcategories, which we've gone through quite thoroughly in the beginning of the year. From an audio creation or radio perspective, FUBBI can be translated into FUBBI with an extra B that we mentioned earlier, which is to be bold. If your content satisfies the FUBBI standard, it is more likely to emotionally connect with the listener. All of the following types of content must be put through the FUBBI filter. This means that the content must be measured against the requirements set in FUBBI. It's important to make sure that a contest or promotion is FUBBI friendly. Without these aspects, it would be challenging to engage someone who's only listening to be entertained. If the content satisfies the FUBBI standards, it is more likely to emotionally connect with listeners. Make sure that the contest is fun for the passive listener to play along. An example is a quiz with questions that are easy enough for the passive listener to answer in the car. Radio promotions. On-air promotions and contests are used with the aim to draw in new listeners and get current listeners to tune in more often. But how does it work with the vast majority of listeners which are tuning in for the entertainment elements or for the information or for the personalities? Radio promotions work to achieve some, if not all, of the following four objectives. One is to entertain the passive listener and get them to listen for longer and to talk about the content. Two is to engage research participants and get them playing along and therefore listening for longer and talking about the content. Three, to create platforms of engagement for brands and advertisers. Four, to gather detailed data on listeners to benefit both the station and its advertisers. The second way promotions work is by capturing the attention of the most important types of listener, the passive listener. The third way promotions work is by benefiting advertisers. Promotions and contests are often sold to advertisers as they can offer brands the following benefits. Great on-air audience participation, which builds brand awareness, embedded brand messaging in the radio editorial, various engaging ways to highlight new products, good communication of short-term objectives, creation of strong positive brand association. Listeners can also be directed to a point of purchase. Finally, promotions work because data capturing has become a vitally important part of promotions and contesting. Every radio station promotion should be evaluated against the following criteria. Will it increase ratings? Will it create awareness? Will it help establish a personal relationship between the station and its loyal listeners? Will it generate sales revenue? Something to think about. During this promotion lesson, think about FUBBI and how you need to incorporate it into everything that you do. So every time you think of content, please make sure that you run it through the FUBBI criteria and see if you're on the right track. In the next lesson, again, we continue with promotions, learning more and more of what it takes to create a powerful promotion and also taking some of the knowledge that we've gained throughout the year to do exactly that. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions for me, you can send me a message on our Radio 2 WhatsApp group, or if it's a little bit more private, you can DM me on WhatsApp as well. Alternatively, you can send me an email at nontantlak@boston.co.za. Otherwise, over and out.